My ex took half my savings after lying about cancer treatments, so I tracked every dollar, exposed her scam, and watched her lose everyone she manipulated. I'm a 29-year-old guy, and for the first time in years, I actually thought I was free. Free from the chaos, the gaslighting, the endless cycles of love and destruction that came with my ex, Lila. When I ended things after 3 exhausting years, I swore I'd never look back. I remember those first few months feeling lighter. Quiet mornings, no fights, no tears. Just silence and peace. Then, one evening, my phone buzzed. Her name lit up the screen. Lila. I froze. Against my better judgment, I opened the message. Please, I just need to talk. It's serious. I almost deleted it. But something in me hesitated. Some leftover piece of compassion I hadn't yet burned out. When we met at the cafe, she looked different. Pale, thinner, her eyes hollow. The way she clutched her scarf, trembling. It wasn't the manipulative Lila I remembered. It was someone broken. I have cancer, she whispered. Stage 4. The words hit like a punch to the chest. My stomach dropped, my throat tightened. For a second, the world around us blurred. The hum of espresso machines, the clinking of cups, the quiet chatter, all fading into static. She cried as she explained how she couldn't afford treatment, how her family had given up on her. I just sat there numb. The woman who once shattered me was now falling apart in front of me. I don't expect you to forgive me, she said softly. I just didn't know who else to tell. That single sentence cracked something open inside me. Against all logic, I felt protective again. Compassion overrode reason. By the time we hugged goodbye, I'd already promised myself I'd help her however I could. I didn't realize that moment was the start of something far darker than heartbreak. After that night, Lila became a constant presence again. Not in the romantic way, but in a way that tugged at my guilt like a chain around my neck. She'd text every morning, "Chemo starts today. I'm terrified." Or, "I threw up again, but I'm trying to stay strong." Each message chipped away at my resolve. I told myself, you can't abandon someone who's dying. A week later, she called late at night, her voice trembling. "They won't start my next round of treatment because I'm behind on payments," she sobbed. "They said if I don't pay by Friday, they'll stop everything." Something in me broke. I didn't even question it. I just said, "How much do you need?" When she hesitated, whispering the number, I transferred the money before she could finish explaining. She cried and said, "You're saving my life." Over the next few weeks, it became a pattern. Medications, lab work, hospital parking fees. Every message sounded desperate, urgent, life or death. And I kept sending. Each transfer felt like buying her more time, like I was doing something good, something right. My friends noticed my exhaustion. One night, my roommate, Adam, confronted me. "You're being played, man. You really think the same girl who cheated, screamed, and guilt-tripped you suddenly found Jesus?" I snapped back, "She's dying, Adam. Have some empathy." He sighed, muttering, "You'll see." But I didn't want to see. I didn't want to believe someone could fake something so cruel. Whenever I tried to visit her in the hospital, she always had an excuse. Isolation protocols. Too weak for visitors. They're changing my meds. Each lie was wrapped in just enough sadness to sound believable. And I told myself, maybe she really was fighting for her life. And maybe, just maybe, I could be the one who helped her win. Weeks turned into months, and my life quietly revolved around Lila's suffering. Every payday, I'd set aside a portion for her treatments. It started small, a few $100s here and there, but it grew until half my savings were gone. I justified it as helping someone who once meant everything. I told myself that money could always be earned again, but saving a life, that was something bigger. She'd send photos. Hospital wristbands, IV lines, even a selfie with a pale smile and the caption, "Still fighting." It always pulled me back in. I'd stare at those pictures late at night, trying to convince myself I'd done the right thing. But something always felt off. One afternoon, I asked if I could bring her dinner. Homemade soup, her favorite. She replied instantly, "You're sweet, but the hospital food is all I can handle right now." My stomach's too weak. That same night, I noticed she posted a blurry story. Her nails freshly done. My chest tightened. I brushed it off, thinking maybe it was an old picture. But doubt started creeping in like a slow poison. Adam noticed the shift. "You've lost weight, man," he said. "You're working overtime for someone who might not even be sick." "I've seen the photos," I muttered defensively. "She's sick, Adam." He just gave me that look, half pity, half warning. My sleep vanished. Bills piled up. Every buzz from my phone made my stomach twist. Part fear, part obligation. And yet, I couldn't stop. I'd built this narrative in my head, that I was doing something noble, that maybe all the pain she caused before had a purpose. But deep down, something whispered. What if this isn't redemption? What if it's another trap? I didn't want to believe it. Not yet. It happened on a Sunday, the kind of lazy day where nothing feels urgent. I'd gone to drop off a care package outside Lila's apartment, as she said she was too weak to open the door. She texted a soft, "Thank you," minutes later, and I drove home thinking maybe, finally, I was doing something good. That night she called, laughing faintly between coughs. "You're my guardian angel," she whispered. "You don't know how much this means to me." I smiled, tired but warm. "Just focus on getting better," I told her. When I hung up, I noticed she'd left her phone in my car's passenger seat. I debated turning around, but she lived 20 minutes away. I figured I'd return it tomorrow. Still, when the screen lit up with a notification, curiosity got the better of me. "Your Cancun pics are fire." My heart sank. Cancun? Hands trembling, I opened her photo app. Dozens of beach photos. Not old, not filtered, fresh, time-stamped from the past week. Her chemo scarf replaced with sunglasses and cocktails. Every emotion crashed at once. Confusion, disbelief, rage. I scrolled faster, each swipe slicing through whatever trust was left. The same woman who said she was fighting for her life was sunbathing in paradise. My mind replayed every hospital bill. Every night I'd sat awake worrying. Every overtime shift I'd worked just to make sure she survived. I dropped the phone like it burned me. When she called later, frantic, "Did you find my phone? Please don't go through anything, it's private." I hung up. For the first time, I saw Lila for who she really was. Not a victim, but a predator dressed in pain. And I knew, right then, this wasn't over. Not even close. That night, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her smiling in those beach photos. Glowing, carefree, while I drowned in overtime shifts and sleepless nights worrying about her. Anger burned in my chest, but beneath it was something colder. Humiliation. I'd fallen for it again. By morning, I decided not to confront her. Not yet. People like Lila thrived on chaos. If I exploded, she'd twist it until I looked crazy. No, this time, I'd play it differently. Quietly. I started by digging through our messages. Every transfer, every receipt, every excuse. I organized everything in a folder labeled Proof. The deeper I went, the more inconsistencies appeared. Different hospital names, mismatched appointment dates, invoices without headers. When I called one of the hospitals listed on her receipts, the woman on the phone said gently, "Sir, we have no patient by that name." I hung up, hands trembling half from fury, half from realization. It wasn't just manipulation, it was a full-blown scam. Still, I kept my calm facade. I texted Lila like nothing had changed. "How's chemo going? Need me to drop off anything?" She replied instantly, "You're my rock. I don't know how I'd survive this without you." My jaw tightened, but I forced a reply. "Always here for you." Every fake smiley face she sent was another nail in her coffin. Adam noticed my shift. "You're quiet lately," he said. "Just tired," I replied. But what I really meant was, I was calculating, because now it wasn't about heartbreak. It was about justice. I didn't just want to catch her. I wanted her to expose herself, in her own words, in her own voice. And soon she'd do exactly that. For 2 weeks, I kept pretending to be the same gullible guy she thought I was. texting her sweet words, sending get well soon emojis, even checking in about fake chemo sessions. But under that calm, I was collecting everything. Screenshots, audio, timestamps. I wasn't just documenting lies anymore. I was mapping a predator's pattern. Then, one evening, while scrolling through Instagram, something stopped me cold. A mutual friend had posted a picture, Lila at a rooftop bar, laughing with a man I didn't recognize. The caption read, "So happy for these two." I zoomed in. The man, clean-cut, confident, had his arm around her. My gut twisted. I clicked her tagged profile. Her bio now read, "Fighting cancer with love and positivity." It hit me. She was doing it again. That night, I created a fake account. A few messages later, I learned the guy's name, Tom. They'd met online 2 months ago, right when her treatments supposedly intensified. My stomach dropped as I realized she'd been juggling both stories. I watched their posts, candlelit dinners, weekend trips. She was alive and thriving, while telling me she was too weak to walk. One comment from him stood out. "Proud of my girl for staying strong through chemo. You're my hero." My screen blurred as I stared at it. She wasn't just scamming me. She'd made a hobby out of sympathy, but instead of blowing up, I smiled for the first time in months, because now I had something better than anger. A pattern. And with proof of another victim, my case wasn't just emotional anymore. It was undeniable. The game had changed. I wasn't her target anymore. I was the hunter. Once I knew about Tom, everything clicked into focus. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. It was strategy. I started documenting everything. Screenshots of her posts, timestamps of money transfers, and every fake hospital message she ever sent. I created a private drive labeled Lila Case. Each folder was a piece of her puzzle, a puzzle of deceit. I even used a spare phone to record our calls. Whenever she'd cry and say, "The doctor said I might not make it to Christmas," I'd quietly hit record. Every sob, every manipulation, it was all going into the archive. Adam caught me one night at my desk surrounded by notes and screenshots. "You look like a detective in a revenge movie," he said. I didn't look up. That's exactly what I am. Through my fake account, I stayed in touch with Tom, too. He was kind, too kind. He talked about selling his car to help Lila afford her treatments. My stomach turned. It was like watching my own story play out again, just with a new face. I sent him a message. "Hey, you might want to double-check the hospital she's going to. Something's not right." No reply for days. Then suddenly a single text from him. "Who are you?" I told him everything. Sent screenshots, receipts, voice notes, proof. The next day, Lila's social media went dark. No new stories, no captions, nothing. She'd gone silent. But silence from Lila didn't mean retreat. It meant recalculation. I knew her well enough to recognize it. She wasn't done lying, but neither was I done watching. I had every reason to end this quietly, move on and heal. But no, she had stolen from me, from him and from whoever came next. I wanted the truth to burn her world down. I thought anger would be the fuel I needed, but nothing hit me like the quiet arithmetic of loss. One morning, I sat at my kitchen table with 3 tabs open. Bank app, spreadsheet, a list of transfers. And the numbers didn't add up to a story of help. They spelled out theft. Nearly $28,000. Half my savings, rent due in 5 days. Credit card creeping toward its limit. The room smelled like burnt coffee and old paper. Even the sunlight through the blinds felt accusatory. My chest tightened. I closed my eyes and replayed the past months. The late-night transfers, the hospital selfies, the please messages that had become a metronome in my life. Every kindness I'd given had been counted, itemized, and cashed out. My hands shook as I scrolled through the transactions. Dates, amounts, her short thank you replies like receipts for a lie. That afternoon, my boss called me into his office. The fluorescent lights hummed. "You've missed 3 deadlines, Mark. We need you focused or we'll have to reevaluate your position." He said it like it was a spreadsheet line item. I heard the word replacement echo. When I walked back to my apartment, my phone rang and my mom's voice trembled. "We're worried about you, Beta. You're not yourself. You gave her our hard-earned money." Their disappointment cut deeper than any bank alert. My father didn't call. He texted, "Be careful who you trust." Nothing about the cruelty, just a sting of blame. I sat on the floor, the apartment suddenly too big and empty. The weight of humiliation settled in my bones. I'd lost money, sure, but worse. I'd lost dignity, stability, the idea that I could trust my own judgment. For a long time, I just stared at the ceiling, the sound of traffic outside like a distant metronome while my life ticked down. And then something cold and clear formed in me. I would fix this. Not with noise or fury, but with precision. I would make sure she couldn't walk away with this again. But to do that, I'd have to get closer than she'd ever expect. I told myself I'd stay calm, but my hand still trembled when I typed the message. I sent her a carefully curated text, soft, hopeful, exactly the bait she couldn't resist. I found some extra money. "If you need a little more for whatever, I can transfer it tonight. Don't tell anyone, okay?" Within minutes, her reply popped up. "Are you serious? You'd do that? I don't know how to thank you." I arranged everything like a surgeon prepping a procedure. An envelope with fake cash. Crisp bills I'd printed the week before and aged with coffee rings to look real. A small recorder hidden under a pack of tissues. My phone set to record video from a corner of my living room. I rehearsed nothing because I didn't have to. Her words would betray her on their own. The apartment smelled like lemon cleaner and plastic. The recorder's red light blinked like a heartbeat. When she arrived, she moved with practiced urgency, wiping non-existent tears as she crossed the threshold. She glanced at the camera twice, just a flicker of suspicion, then shrugged it off. "You found the money?" she asked, breath hitching. I pushed the envelope toward her. "It's for you. I don't want to hear about hospitals tonight." "Just take it." She tore it open like a child, eyes lighting up. For a second, she was the Lila I remembered. Hungry, greedy, alive. She scooped the fake bills, counted them, and laughed. Soft, triumphant, cruel. "You're a saint," she said. "I can finally breathe." Then she did something I hadn't expected. She leaned in, voice low and casual, as if sharing a secret with an old friend. "You know, I never told you everything. It's not that I was dying. I needed a reset. People give when they feel sorry." Her confession hit the room like ice. The recorder clicked. The camera kept rolling. I breathed, steadying myself. I shot one short text. "Sent the footage to Tom, your sister, and the hospital." She froze, color draining from her face. Her laugh turned thin. Her hands shook. Then she bolted for the door, screaming my name, threats spilling out. I watched her go, my chest a stone, the recorder humming in my palm. But I wasn't done. I hit send on one more message, one that would change everything. The next morning, my phone blew up. Dozens of notifications, texts, DMs, missed calls. Lila's name flooded the screen, alternating between panic and rage. "How could you do this to me? You ruined my life. Please, just delete it. I'll pay you back, I swear." I didn't respond. I just watched her unravel in real time. By noon, screenshots of her messages and the recorded confession had already made their way through our mutual circles. Someone had leaked them to a local community group. "Woman fakes cancer for money." The post spread like wildfire. Tom texted me one line. "She's done." Her Instagram, once full of inspirational quotes and filtered selfies, went dark. Comments piled up. Accusations, disgust, disbelief. She tried fighting back, posting a shaky video claiming she was framed by bitter exes. But the evidence was undeniable. The voice recording, the receipts, the Cancun photos. It was over. That night my phone rang again. This time, she was crying. Not the manipulative kind, but the hollow, terrified sobs of someone watching their entire life collapse. "Please, Mark. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I just needed help." I lost control. For a moment, I almost felt something. sympathy, maybe. But then I remembered the sleepless nights, the overdraft fees, the humiliation in my father's text. "I hope," I said quietly, "you remember this the next time you think about lying to someone who actually cared." Silence. Then a whisper, "You ruined me." I almost laughed. "No, Lila, you ruined yourself." I hung up and turned off my phone. For the first time in months, the room felt still. No buzzing notifications, no guilt, no chaos, just quiet. But I knew the real justice hadn't even started yet, because now, she wasn't just facing humiliation, she was about to face the law. 2 weeks later, I got a call from a blocked number. The voice on the other end was calm, professional. "Mr. Daniels? This is Detective Perez from the Financial Crimes Division. We received multiple reports about a woman named Lila Harper. We'd like to ask you a few questions." I felt a strange mix of dread and relief. Finally, someone was listening. I spent the next hour at the station, showing them everything. Bank transfers, fake invoices, screenshots, the audio of her admitting she'd lied. The detective's expression shifted from skepticism to disgust. "You kept meticulous records," he said, tapping the folder. "That'll make this easier." A week later they called again. Lila had been interviewed. They found evidence she'd forged hospital documents, altered letterheads, fake patient IDs. She'd even used the same story with 2 other men, one in another city. The total she'd taken was over $70,000. When the news broke, it hit every local feed. "Woman faces fraud, charges for faking cancer." Her face, once so carefully curated for sympathy, was now plastered beside words like manipulation and scam. My inbox filled with messages, people thanking me for exposing her. Even Tom reached out. "I didn't believe you at first." "I'm sorry. You saved me." My parents called too. This time their tone was different. Proud, not pitying. "You did the right thing, son," my father said quietly. It didn't bring back the money or the lost months of sleep, but it gave me something better. Validation. Proof that I wasn't the fool anymore. When Lila finally pled guilty, I didn't attend the hearing. I didn't need to. Seeing her name in the court report was enough. Justice wasn't loud or cinematic. It was steady, quiet, and deeply satisfying. And for the first time in years, I felt free not just from her, but from the version of myself who thought love meant sacrifice. Months passed before I realized I was finally breathing normally again. No panic whenever my phone buzzed. No guilt for saying no. Just silence, the kind of peace that once felt impossible. I'd gotten most of my savings back through the court's restitution order, though it came in small, almost symbolic payments. But honestly, I didn't care about the money anymore. What mattered was that the weight was gone. I'd faced someone who thrived on control, and for once, I didn't let her rewrite the story. Therapy helped more than I expected. My therapist told me, "You can't heal by pretending it didn't happen. You heal by owning that it did, and you survived it." Those words stuck, so I started writing. At first, just notes, then full pages. Eventually, it turned into a blog about emotional manipulation and financial abuse. Messages poured in. People sharing similar stories, people who'd been too ashamed to speak. It hit me that this wasn't just about Lila anymore. It was about everyone who's ever been taken advantage of for being too kind. One evening, I volunteered at a local cancer support center. Ironically, the place she'd lied about became the first place I found real connection. Listening to people fight genuine battles made me realize how deeply she'd disrespected that pain. But it also reminded me that empathy itself wasn't the problem. Blind trust was. Sometimes I still get messages from unknown numbers. Probably her, using new phones. I never reply. Some ghosts deserve silence, not closure. Now, when I think about everything she took, I don't feel anger. I feel clarity. Because the truth is, she didn't steal my money. She taught me the cost of misplaced compassion, and I'll never pay that price again.